Hey guys, it's your boy Progress, and welcome to a brand new video. If you want to go follow me or contact me on other social media, I've got my Twitter and Instagram on screen right now and in the description, so if you want, then go check those out. And before we get into this, I want to say that yes, I do believe that Taz Taylor is a talented producer, and yes, I do think it's very cool he was able to turn producing in his bedroom to now producing for some of the biggest rappers out there right now, but that's not what today's video is about. I'm only bringing this up now because I know for a fact there are going to be people who are just going to call me a hater in the comments and then leave, but calling out bad behavior is not hating, it's called being rational and making people be held accountable. Oh yeah, and here's some little bits of information you'll need to know in case you walked into this video with no knowledge of who Taz Taylor is. Taz Taylor is a Grammy-nominated producer who has actually worked with such artists as Drake, Lil Skies, Gucci Mane, XXXTentacion, Trippie Redd, and many more. And he is also the CEO of a label that is under Alamo Records called Internet Money Records. And of course this video is going to have talk of industry plants in it, so just in case you don't know what an industry plant is, basically it's an artist who is signed to or being backed by a label or industry connection, but before this point was virtually unknown. The label also often dumps tons of money and connections into this person to ensure their growth, and to also make sure that the music they are creating sounds near perfect or is very, very good. So they often give them some of the best producers or sound engineers that they can offer. In super extreme cases though, they can be manufactured all the way down to what the artist's style is, whether that be artistic or even their clothing sense. But more often than not, they're attempting to ride a certain wave or trying to steal somebody else's style and replicate that and act as if it's their own. But yeah, let's get into today's video because it's gonna be a slightly complicated one to understand, so I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of backstory that's happened over the past few months. In April, I exposed how Iann Dior could be an industry plant and mentioned how Taz Taylor appeared to be up to some shady business. Taz Taylor did not like this at all and decided to message me, which eventually ended up with us being in a call for about an hour and a half. After I tried to reason with him and make him understand what I'm saying, he just decided to keep saying the same things over and over again. This eventually led to us ending the call and saying that we agreed to disagree, and we happily went off, with me even apologizing if I had wasted his time, and me saying that I would be more clear in the future with what I meant when I called someone an industry plant. And from that point, we seemed to be all good. And then he decided to wait an entire day before tweeting out that we called, but of course he misrepresented what I was saying. And then things went silent for a bit. Until just recently, new information involving Taz Taylor and industry plants came out, so of course, you know that I was the first person to want to look into this. And yeah, so here we are. So let's talk about it. This video will flow between three things. First will be this article that came out that basically exposes Taz Taylor for attempting to make an industry plant. Second will be discussing Taz Taylor's other bad behavior and how this article could definitely add more validity to my Iann Dior video. And third, a bit of theory type stuff that I thought of based off of some of the information that I gathered while researching. But let's get into the first part. The article. On July 2nd, 2019, Underviews did an article titled Chelji's Bruises with Alamo, Internet Money, and the Horrible Reality of Signing Deals Early. In it, they give a quick backstory on who Chelji is, and for those of you who don't know, she is an artist who comes from the UK, who signed a deal with Internet Money sometime in December of 2018. But as the article's title suggests, it was not a good thing to do, and here's why. Chelji had signed her deal with Internet Money more out of wanting to help her family with money than actually understanding what was going to happen to her. So she ended up moving out to the US and all seemed to be doing well, but then people in the label started having problems with her, which ended up with her barely being promoted later on. They weren't offering her the support that they promised, and she had a really big issue with trying to get any money out of them. But yet she still has to share income with her label. Why is it that she was having issues with Internet Money and Alamo, you may ask? Well, one of the biggest things was they wanted to change almost everything about her and change her into this image of what they thought would sell. This would kind of include things like the style that she would wear, the style of music she made, and what she made as her music. So get this, they tried to make her an industry plant, tried. But she denied them, reminding them that she specifically said in her contract that they could not do this. After doing this, it basically caused her to almost get completely shunned out from them, with them not doing any of the things that was promised in her contract, specifically because she would not let them change who she was. When the people who made the article had asked her for a comment on the situation, she said, quote, "I don't want to speak badly or ignite bad blood with my label, but signing was one of the worst things I've ever done. If there was one thing I could say to people in my position, it's simple. Do not sign." So, from this article, we can gather that we have a person that was an attempted industry plant that Taz Taylor had a hand in trying to make. After seeing that, and especially after knowing what Taz's response to my video on Iann was, I needed to see what Taz's reaction to this was. So I went and checked out his Twitter. And honestly, I was a bit surprised to see that he didn't deny any of the claims made in the article. All he took out of it was that he didn't want people saying that he associated with Alamo anymore because I guess they had some kind of falling out in January. And he had also made a tweet talking about slander, but didn't really get into any specifics of what he was talking about, so it was a little confusing. But yeah, it was kind of strange that he didn't say anything in particular just wasn't true. The thing I'd say about the stuff of Taz trying to claim that he has no association with Alamo anymore, I just think that's more him not wanting people to associate it, but that it's not actually official, because from what I've seen, even the Internet Money banner for their official Facebook page still has the Alamo and Interscope stuff on it, and on top of that, Taz Taylor's own pinned tweet has an image in it, and on that, it shows that signing with Alamo was one of the biggest achievements they had that year, so I don't think it's an official thing yet, so he can't really complain. But no matter what, I do really feel bad for Chelji, because it seems like even though she still is having to deal with being signed to Internet Money, they're doing nothing for her. I decided to reach out to her to ask some questions, obviously knowing I wouldn't get the answers to everything, but I wanted to know two things that were probably important. One being, is she allowed to make music on her own if they're not offering her any support in that way? And two, how is she surviving right now if she has no money from the label? And she said, quote, "I have been, but not while I'm going through this with the label. Also been doing features / renting out studio time in my house. I'm still making money that way. It's dope." End quote. And then she said, quote, "Bro, I feel like I have a 9-to-5 on God selling features. My label won't pay for anything." End quote. I really do hope she's able to break out of this contract, because it really sounds like they've tried to isolate her entirely. She's not allowed to release music out from her own stuff, and she's also not even able to be paid by them at all. She's having to rely on renting out a home studio and doing other things to be able to make money, so it's not really fair to her if they're just gonna lock her in and let her do nothing. It's pretty obvious that she didn't want to be a plant, because I doubt that somebody would just halt their entire career on purpose unless there was a reason for them wanting to be an organic and naturally growing artist. Oh yeah, and speaking of Taz's pinned tweet from earlier, it also shows that they signed 2 artists to Internet Money, those being Chelji and another guy named Trevor Daniel. Which that article also briefly talks about him and how he is also having trouble with being paid in a tweet that he has now since deleted, but they actually had a clip of it in the article, so that works. All I'm gonna say is this: if you've got only 2 artists that are signed to your label and both of them are having trouble being paid at all, you're not doing something right. That also makes me worried about people like Iann Dior, because if people who are signed to Taz's label aren't even able to get the money that they should be making, then how are people like Iann Dior being treated when he's claimed to be unsigned? I don't see him being any better. Which, of course, leads me to the next stuff that I want to talk about, that being Iann Dior. Now, I know I already have a full video explaining how I think Iann Dior is an industry plant, and I would highly suggest you go watch that if you haven't seen it already. But now we're almost a few months more into the future, so a bunch more stuff has come out, and I'm finally being able to piece things together better. Taz claims left, right, and center that he never signed Iann. And okay, maybe I'll believe that. Maybe. I'll get into that in a little bit. But what I want to focus on is that I had strictly asked Taz Taylor in the call that we had if he had any incentive in trying to give Iann everything he needed to become famous. And he said no.
Iann could have went and signed somewhere else. Doesn't fucking matter. Iann was not signed to me. I got nothing off of Iann Dior. I did it because I fucked with the kid as a person. Iann could have flopped. I would have got nothing. I still have nothing. Like, it doesn't matter. I get paid off other shit, not Iann Dior. I just like the kid. He's my friend. He's my homeboy.
I do not believe that for a single second. You don't make $400,000 in a week because you give away internet money, beats, producers, your engineers, studio time, and on top of that, paying for the rent, paying for the food, clothes, and daily things that these people need to take care of themselves. Which, by the way, that was the point that I was making to Taz Taylor that he completely misrepresented in the tweet that I showed earlier. When looking through Taz's Twitter, I was able to actually go back and find this tweet that he had posted from the day that I uploaded my Iann Dior video. He said, quote, "Iann isn't signed to me, or Internet Money, or even Nick. We strictly just executive produce everything." End quote. Executive producers basically get to manage every project that the artist puts out and design the plan for what they'll get the artist to do. They also market new songs and take commission sales off of everything that the artist puts out, which, for those of you who don't know what commission is, it basically just means they take a percentage of money off of every sale made. Now I'm gonna play some clips back to back of what Taz Taylor told me in regards to him not making money off of Iann versus what he told another producer in an interview. Remember, during both my call and the interview, Taz was Iann's executive producer.
Iann could have flopped. I would have got nothing. I still have nothing. Like, it doesn't matter. I get paid off other shit, not Iann Dior.
Me developing artists and, you know, doing everything like that, there's a lot of money in that. It's really big because I'm executive producing everything. Iann Dior, for instance, like, I'm the one in charge of Iann Dior putting out music. I'm the one in charge of, like, what songs that he's doing. Him having, like, a follow-up song or hits or making sure this shit's streaming well. All that shit is my responsibility.
So do you like work... Do you get percentage of the record from that, or like how does that work when it comes to like?
I get a bigger royalty percentage and all that than a normal producer, yeah.
I still have nothing. Like, it doesn't matter.
I get a bigger royalty percentage and all that than a normal producer, yeah.
And that got me wanting answers even more then. Do you really think that Taz would just waste all of this time, money, and resources on just for the hell of it, just for the fun of it to try and help some random dude, and then he just happens to end up signing to a label, and after he signs to the label, they just happen to get to be the executive producers of him, and from that point on, he just happens to only still use Internet Money producers' beats? I don't think so. And that's where I think I have finally figured out what is truly going on here. Now, mind you, this is just gonna be a theory. I am in no way saying that this is factual, I am just giving you a theory based off stuff that I found. As Taz said in a tweet before, he was frustrated with Alamo when they wouldn't let him sign Lil Tecca in January, so he basically stopped working with them. But Taz does not need Alamo to keep making money. What I think he was able to do is keep making beats and produce for other artists who are out there, just like how recently Nick Mira and Taz Taylor were able to produce the song for Lil Tecca that was called Ransom, which obviously, even though he was denied to sign Tecca, he's still able to work with him. Taz also said that he executively produces for Iann Dior. So what I think is happening here is that Taz still wants to be able to make money while dealing with this Alamo situation. So he's taking these smaller artists like Iann Dior, Prada Baby, Poor Stacy, and whoever else he's got cooking up, and making them full-on plants, giving them absolutely everything that they need and changing everything about them to fit into the style that he wants so that they will succeed. But the plants are not for him. They're for the labels. Then Taz will swoop in and make sure that he's the executive producer for them to ensure that they keep having to use the Internet Money team's beats. That way, the money always keeps circulating back to them. He probably also gets a portion of what the artist signed for, seeing as that he owns all of the production to the beats that these artists are using. Meaning that, once again, another form of income would be once they sign, they make extra money off the fact that they produced everything to that point. Taz even admitted to me that he has worked with industry plants in the past and built artists up from nothing.
What makes somebody an industry plant? Because I've been a part of conversations, bro, where literally a label's like, listen, we just signed this kid. We don't know what to do with him. How about this? We'll pay you to come in and... That's not like that. There's been many artists, actually, where that shit's happened. Where I get paid thousands and thousands of dollars, 100 grand plus, to come in and develop an artist because the label just don't know how to fuck to develop artists anymore.
So who's to say he isn't doing the exact same thing here, but instead it's to sell these guys off eventually to other labels? And once again, that was just a theory based off of things that I was able to find and things that I have been told through talking with Taz, but You can think what you want. But yeah, it doesn't really look like things are going too good for Taz right now. Actually, even good is probably too weak of a word. I'd say Positive. Positive is a clothing brand made by my friend Pan out of the UK that he has worked super hard on over the last couple years and paid for everything out of pocket. Plus, he is just coming out now with a brand new line called the Double Barbed Wire Tees. So if you want to get that or any of the other items he sells off the site, then head over to positiveincorporated.co.uk or click the link in the description and use code PRGRS25 to get 25% off your purchase at checkout. That code only lasts 24 hours and there is a very limited stock, so be quick. That's code PRGRS25 for 25% off when checking out. But now, let's get back to the video. But now let's get into something that I find pretty interesting as well, which is the story of how Iann and Taz met, or better yet, how Iann and Internet Money met. First, Taz said to me when he messaged me on Instagram that it was Nick who found Iann when he wasn't a serious artist and helped him build his brand, but then later, in a voice message that I got sent from Taz on Instagram, he had said this is how he had met Iann.
And he's seen that, because I have an artist who signed to me through Internet Money called Trevor Daniel, and he's seen that my videographer, Logan Mize, did all his shit. Like shot all his videos. So he hit up Logan and paid Logan $4 grand out of his pocket to fly to LA on his own and shoot a video for a song called Unforgettable that, you know, he didn't know how to release because he had a video, he didn't have a platform to put it on, he didn't have anything. So literally that video never come out because he's the type of person, like, if he doesn't know what he's doing or how he's doing it, he'll never put it out. So I go home to Jacksonville, because that's where I'm from, Jacksonville, Florida. I go home January, and I'm just sitting there, and Logan sends me this video. He's like, yo, I don't know if like you ever heard of this kid or not, but like I really like the song. He shot it with me in like August, but like he's never put it out. I don't even know if he's like seriously rapping anymore or whatever. And he sent it to me. I was like, yo, like this kid's like dope. Like I like the song a lot. And like I just like would have myself walking around my house, like it would be stuck in my head. I was like still singing it. So like, oh, there's something there. This kid's dope. So like I reached out to him and I was like, yo, you're dope, blah 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 blah, whatever, woo woo woo.
But Iann, in his Genius interview, said this.
I met Nick playing PS4, so that like happened randomly. I had made the song before to a different beat, and Nick had heard the song, he really liked it. He got the lyrics and he went on Twitch and he made he basically made the beat live. So the energy, everything, like it was just created around my lyrics.
And also in the lyrics breakdown for the song Emotions, Iann went more in depth and said, quote, I met Nick playing PS4. That happened randomly. We were playing Rocket League and I just met him on there, and we were talking about music. I told him that I make music, eventually got connected with Taz, flew out there, and I just started making music. Huh. Kinda odd, cause that sounds very different than both of the stories that Taz told me. Also, it's a bit strange that even if it was true that Iann had met Nick on Rocket League and through Rocket League, he didn't mention that he met Taz first through Logan Mize, nor did he mention Logan Mize at all. Because if Nick and Iann were frequently talking about music, don't you think at some point it would have been brought up to Taz that he was talking to this kid? And even if it wasn't then, don't you think that at some point Iann would have been like, hey, yeah, Nick, I actually made a music video with the guy who made a music video for a dude you guys have signed. Or who knows, maybe they're all just stupid and all of them are getting the story wrong. No matter what though, the backstory is insanely confusing. Oh yeah, guys, as well, you know, if I was Iann right now, I'd also be a little bit upset if I found out that Taz Taylor just randomly sent my music video that I spent $4K on to a YouTuber who makes videos on rappers who could have easily leaked it. Oh, what am I talking about? Well, you know that music video that is completely unreleased with an unreleased song that Taz Taylor was talking about in his clip? Oh, well, he sent that to me. Yes, I have it. The full music video. But yeah, I just find it hilarious because I don't think I'll be able to find the tweet, but I do vividly remember seeing a tweet while working on the Iann Dior video where Taz had said that, oh, once a song is leaked, it's dead to him. But yet he's totally cool with sending me a music video that his own artist paid for, apparently, just not even telling me I couldn't leak it. He just sent it to me and said, oh, here, see, this is proof that Iann was doing things before he was with us. Which kind of leads into like a secondary point, that being that Taz tries to make it seem like that Iann did not take music seriously before working with them. But yet at the same time tries to run the narrative that Iann spent $4,000 out of pocket just out of high school to be able to make one music video that he had nowhere to put. I'm sorry, but I think if you are putting $4,000 into a single music video, I'm pretty sure you're taking it seriously. Also, of course, I need to bring this up again of how it is so ridiculous that Taz keeps trying to claim that what he did with Iann was not him making an industry plant. Okay, let me just explain this. I want to lay this down for you guys as easy as possible. Taz himself makes his own arguments look dumb. Taz on Twitter said, quote, "An industry plant is an artist who gets the perks of being signed to a label while claiming he never was." End quote. What, Taz? Like you do with Iann? Like you do with Iann? Absolutely everything was given to him to be able to succeed. He had almost all the producers promoting him. The official label Internet Money accounts were promoting his music and posting them onto YouTube. He used all of the Internet Money resources to do what he does, including beats, production, and everything, all while saying he's not signed. And I really don't get why he's so focused on the aspect of Iann not being signed. It clearly doesn't matter whether he's signed or not, because he's getting the perks of being signed while not being signed. An average Joe could not just walk through your place and do what Iann Dior has. You've selected him. It honestly seems like you're doing way more for Iann, who is unsigned, than someone like Chelji, who is signed. Your claim of what matters and what doesn't when you're signed, clearly your word means nothing, because you treat signed artists worse than unsigned artists. So Iann technically is even better than being signed, because he's getting better perks than the people who aren't. Oh, and also, just like I had questioned in my video on Iann Dior of how he was able to get a P&B Rock feature, Taz also, after my video came out, clarified that for us. He obviously thought that he somehow made it seem like Iann was less of a plant, but in reality, he made it seem a lot worse. He legit admits that he went and introduced P&B specifically to Iann and told him to f*** with his music. I can't make this up. I really can't. This is real. Like I said, think what you want, but I'm just saying, every single time that Taz tries to talk and thinks he's making himself sound better, it just gets worse. But yeah, if you made it all the way through this video and you're kind of wondering, okay, what was the full point of this video? I don't want anyone being attacked out of this. I don't want people chasing after people that I talked about within this video. That is not anything that I endorse at all. All I want is for Taz to not lie about things and don't misrepresent things that people are saying to you, as well as just be truthful with your motives for things. So yeah, it's basically a long-winded way of saying do better. Basically just let artists be themselves and create the art they want to create. It should be art over algorithm, not the other way around. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed, and if you did, please leave a like, because it definitely lets me know if you want to see videos like this again in the future, although these do take an extremely long amount of time to be able to make, so I do them a little less frequently. And also, massive shout out to all my patrons this month, with a special shout out to the $10 and up patrons, those being Scrubby, Tozier, Medusa Lives, Tex, Marshall Milano, and Farski. You guys are so awesome, and I appreciate the support so much, because it helps me be able to pay for things like the editing software that I use every month to make these videos, and also, like I've said in the past, it helped me be able to get the microphone set up and everything that I've got now. So thank you guys so much. It means the world to me. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you all in the next video. Goodbye.
Say we can. I know that I love you, something about